and welcome here to TalkFCB and welcome back to the channel here today, guys, for a full Barça news roundup with plenty of transfer news coming your way today, as we're going to be discussing Jeremie Frimpong. Big news there on him, along with emphasis as well on Spain with Pedri, Lamine Yamal and the man of the moment, Nico Williams, discuss. So please sit back, please relax, and I hope you're going to enjoy. Let's do this. Because let me first of all start by saying a very big thank you here to Saeed, who is a big supporter of the channel, and he's left there a super thanks, and he said, feel free to share these funds with La Liga's accountants on behalf of Barça so that we can reach the 1-for-1 rule. I am sure that Tebas will take any amount there, so now it's my responsibility to use these funds and to help Barça get back on track. Big thank you there to Saeed. But I want to kick off today's video, guys, by talking about Marc Guiu. Remember there, the 18-year-old forward at Barça, and he's been impressing, not only his explosion into the first team, but also what he's been doing at Barça Athletic, scoring some really important goals, some really impressive goals as well. Barça are really impressed with this young man, and they would like to keep him at the club. But today, we've heard about big interest from the Premier League, and in particular, Chelsea are very interested in signing him this summer. And the big reason for that is because the release clause that's in his contract right now, just 6 million euros it would cost this summer to sign Marc Guiu, and that is a really low amount. And Chelsea are looking at this deal right now thinking that he's got talent, he's an exciting young player, and for 6 million, it is such a low-risk deal for them. So Barça have certainly got a situation on their hands right here, and that is why they've already been negotiating with Marc Guiu over a new contract. They would like to tie him down at the club for many years to come to keep him here and to increase that release clause. But talks right now, they are still ongoing and nothing has been signed as of yet. And I'm just interested to see right now, guys, what this interest from Chelsea does in terms of those negotiations about the new deal with Guiu. What will the will of the player be? Does he really want to stay at Barça? Could he be tempted by that Chelsea offer? What kind of role in the team are they offering him? And also, what are Barça saying to him? What kind of plans do we have for the future there of Marc Guiu? And I am interested right now, guys. Let me know in the comments down below. What do you see for him? Where would you like to see him be in a few years' time? How highly do you rate him? Because then we must indeed move on to Jeremie Frimpong, the Dutch and Bayer Leverkusen player. Because, by the way, guys, these rumours, they're getting stronger and stronger. They are really intensifying right now when it comes to Jeremie Frimpong and Barça, because originally we heard about maybe some interest in the player, a potential offer going into Leverkusen, and the club being generally impressed by him. But I think now it's a lot more than that. It feels a lot more firm than that. Gerard Romero says today that Frimpong is a priority for the club this summer. This is not just about a little bit of interest here. Romero says this is a serious target for the club and they would like to sign him. They would like to bring him in, because then you've also got Fabrizio Romano, of course a very reliable source when it comes to transfers. He says right now that Barca do indeed have a real interest in signing Frimpong. That interest there is genuine, and Fabrizio goes on to say that Hansi Flick approves the player. He likes Jeremie Frimpong. He would like to have him at the club, and also, I think most importantly here, Fabrizio goes on to say that if the João Cancelo deal starts to become complicated, then suddenly Frimpong could become a real possibility for Barca this summer. And I think it's interesting here on two different levels, because number one, if Flick does like Frimpong, if he does indeed want him at the club, if he's approved him there as a new signing, I wonder again what the plan is for him here. We know that Hansi Flick is a very offensive-minded coach. He plays there with his defence especially with a very high line, and therefore we know we could get Frimpong high up the field. He could operate in the kind of areas he has been at Leverkusen, but at some point still, if you're a defensive player, you will still need to defend, and you need to really fall upon those defensive qualities, and that's the one area where there are still real doubts about Frimpong. But there's two parts of this, because I would also just put this out there, guys. Given that Fabrizio Romano there actively mentioned the Cancelo deal, about things getting complicated maybe, then we could move for Frimpong. I would just like to say here, part of me wonders, is this Barca's way in the media right now of just putting pressure on Man City? Is this Barca's way of saying, well, we want another loan deal for Cancelo, we're negotiating with Man City, but if those negotiations aren't going too well, we want to let them know we've got other targets, we can move on. If you don't give us the deal that we want, if you don't give us another loan deal here, you can keep Cancelo. Is this a threat here from Barca that they can move on to other targets, that they are looking at other players in order to put that extra pressure on City? That is something that I put out there, but certainly the interest in Frimpong, we're hearing about it lots more. However, guys, I would like to talk to you in today's video as well about Pedri, because obviously last night Spain were in action there against Italy, their second game and their second win at the European Championships. But I would say here, there's contrasting views on Pedri's new role in the team there, him playing more advanced, higher up the field, getting the ball in different kinds of positions, because at times, I admit, he doesn't get the ball as much as he would do in a deeper area. And the thing with Pedri is, you always want him involved. You know, you don't want him to be cast aside in any way. You don't want him to be isolated there in the field. You want him to be involved. You want him to be in the build-up of play. And certainly there, you've got to find the right balance, because I believe he can still be very effective higher up the field. He's got great ability to link play. He can use his vision higher up the field as well. And he can make forward runs and score goals in that area. But I think if we are going to be playing with Pedri there at Barca, if Hansi Flick is going to be trying out this kind of position, what you want to do, you want to play with him. You want to play through Pedri. You don't want to bypass him. That's going to be the important thing here. If you want to operate with him in a 10, use him there. You know, play the ball into him. Make sure that you're picking him out between the lines. Don't just go and bypass him so that then he's not involved in that build-up, because there's so many of his qualities that you can use in that area, but you must find the right balance. But I also just want to say as well, about this new role, one thing that maybe hasn't been highlighted as much as other things, one thing about Pedri higher up, would it have less demand on his body there? Because obviously with Pedri, he's had lots of different injuries. We're really worried about every time he goes out there on the field. You don't want him to go down injured. But with this situation, with this new position, he's got less ground to cover. He's got a lot less there defensive responsibilities. And could that just be a lesser load right now on his body, you know, in order to help him get back to the kind of sharpness that we want him to in order there to put together a real run of games? That's something to bear in mind as well when you're looking at this new role for him. But of course, guys, speaking about the Barca influence here on this Spanish team, well, you've got to talk about Lamine Yamal. Everybody right now is talking about Lamine Yamal, and it's incredible. You know, every single game, sitting down to watch Spain, knowing that he's going to do something. He is going to be affecting the game. And what I just want to highlight here about him, every game he's fantastic. You know, you can't really put into words these days just how good this young man is. But what I find incredible about him here at the Euros, a major international tournament there, in one of the favourite teams. You know, Spain have a real reputation on the international stage these days, and yet a 16-year-old Lamine Yamal has walked into that team and he already has authority. He already demands the ball in that team. They're already, every time they get the ball in that Spanish team, where's Lamine Yamal? How can I pick him out? How can I get him involved in the game? At 16, he is doing this, just like he did in a Barcelona team. That is not normal here. Even if his consistency and his quality is starting to make it all look normal, what he is doing week upon week, game upon game, this is absolutely outrageous. It is incredible to see right now, and I'm loving every single minute of it here. I think he is going to have such a great tournament. If Spain can go deep here, Lamine Yamal's stock is just going to go through the roof. It's going to skyrocket. And every single one of us here, every Barcelona fan, we can be very, very proud of what he is doing. However though, guys, in the game against Italy, it wasn't Lamine Yamal that was awarded the Player of the Match award. It was the man on the other side of the field, Nico Williams there. He did indeed get the Player of the Match, and I just knew here the Euros are going to be big for him, and especially they're looking at Barca's interest in him. I felt as though if he could go and shine on the European stage, that would almost push Barca. You've got to make a move now. You've got to really go and get this young man, because again, his stock is rising. There is a lot of interest in him. We know there's Premier League clubs that are looking around here, looking into his release clause. Apparently it's just over 50 million, not actually 50 million, but more towards 58 million euros right now. But what we also know is that Nico Williams wants to join Barça. Of all the offers that he has, he would like to wait for Barça to make their approach, and if possible, he would like to sign there this summer. And I've got to say, guys, you watch him in the same team as Lamine, you watch the threat that Spain have on both sides of the field, and to be honest, at Barça, if we went from having no real left winger, no natural player there on the left side, no natural threat on the left, to suddenly dropping Nico Williams into that team, just thinking, okay, everything's going nicely on the right, centre forward there, we're working on it, we're going to have a more offensive player in midfield, and then Hansi Flick says, well, I'm going to drop Nico into the left of my attack. I mean, it just sounds incredible. It just sounds as though here at Barça, we would be cooking. There is so much ability there. I mean, you look at it yesterday, on both sides of the field there, 16 dribbles were attempted by Nico and Lamine combined there. They're always trying things. 10 of those came from Nico's side, and they always keeping the opposition on their toes there. They're keeping them guessing. You don't know what they're going to do next. Both players can go on the outside. They can cut inside. They can take shots at goal. They can get low crosses in. The possibilities there with these two, they are endless, and I love the thought of it. And what I would say to Barca right now, the message that I would send, forget about Dani Olmo. Do not even remember the name of Dani Olmo. Nico Williams is right there. He is a cheaper option, he's younger, he's more talented, the ceiling is higher in his game, and if this is a deal that can be done, if this is a player that we are able, that he's out there to get the deal done. Because we can transform our attack and finally have a threat on that left side. So those there, guys, are just some of the topics that I really did want to discuss with you from the past 24 hours or so. I want to know your thoughts there on Nico Williams. Looking at the way that he's playing, looking at the way that he combines as well with some of these Barcelona players, how much would you like to see him in our team? Do you believe that he could succeed here? And do you believe he is worth going out and paying that €58 million release clause for this summer? Because for me, if Barca don't, somebody else will. There is no doubt in my mind about that, guys. So just let me know in the comments down below all of your thoughts right now. And for sure, I will see all of you very soon indeed. Thank you for your great support, for all of you tuning in. But until next time, as always, Visca, El Barça.